Today's stories include Metaphor ReFantazio is a hit, Disco Elysium has spawned multiple new studios, and Xbox will soon sell games on the Android app. We'll have all this and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily.
You nailed it, though.
This is Kinda Funny Games Showdown.
Kinda Funny Games Daily, specifically. Roger. I love you, Roger. I'm just joking.
Are we running it back, or are we just going with it?
I think we're just going. I think that's the way this happens now.
We're just going with it. My bad.
Welcome to Kinda Funny Games Daily for Friday, October 11th, 2024. I am Madeline Stanley, and I'm joined by Blessing Adeoye Jr.
Good morning, Madeline.
How are you doing, Blessing?
I'm doing awesome today. Like, here's the thing. This week has been beating my ass. Like, every day this week has been something new, right? One day my computer stopped working. The next day my apartment was like, you got to empty the cabinets. We're fucking bombing all the cockroaches in this place. And I was like, oh, how long do I have to empty my cabinets? They're like, you have like 12 hours. And I was like, fuck.
Oh my God.
Today on the way to work, I like got coffee, and in the drive-thru, legitimately, like, as I was pulling the coffee into my car, fucking spills.
No.
Like, I just don't know my own strength, you know?
Yeah.
And so, like, I accidentally squeezed the coffee cup too hard and just...
You're too powerful.
Yeah, and it was just in the most inconvenient spot, which is, like, right halfway through my window. So it all,
no.
It's, like, spilling inside and, like, over, like, the console that's on the left side of the door. It was a whole thing. But I'm doing good because today's the launch day of both Dragon Ball Sparking Zero and Metaphor ReFantazio.
You're living, right?
I'm super living. This is a wonderful day. I've been waiting for this day for most of the year.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's very hyped, as we'll talk about in our first story of the day. But before we do that, remember that this is Kinda Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and on podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kinda Funny membership on Patreon, like I do, or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, which watch us record them live and get a daily exclusive show. For a chance to be part of the show, submit your thoughts and opinions as YouTube super chats as we go. Housekeeping. In space, no one can hear Nick scream.
Whoa.
Unless he's streaming Alien Isolation on twitch.tv/kindafunnygames, then everyone can hear Nick scream. Join Mike, Nick, Andy this Wednesday for a special spooky stream as they attempt to survive Alien Isolation. Come out and support us, and we'll go late, Wednesday, October 16th at 12 p.m. or whenever GAMESCAST ends. Also, Kinda Munchies is back. Barrett and Roger went to Wendy's to try out the new Krabby Patty meal. Head over to youtube.com/kindafunny to see them lose their minds.
Can I tell you, I feel FOMO a lot when I work in this office, right?
Yeah.
I see the stream team doing their thing, and I'm like, oh man, I wish I was one of them. I wish I was as cool as them. I see Roger and Barrett go to Wendy's to get the Krabby Patty meal, and I'm like, all right, what the fuck are we doing? Because you know how much I love SpongeBob, Roger.
You didn't miss anything,
And
and also you were on a stream. It's important that you were on that stream. I don't want to take you away from it.
Dude,
We didn't want to take you
I
away
was
from
on that. I was off that stream for like half of it because I was trying to figure out warranty shit with my fucking GPU. Listen, you could have pulled me off for a drive-through run to Wendy's because you know how much I love Wendy's, Roger.
Well, you know, you didn't miss much. Spoilers, everybody. You didn't miss much.
Barrett, I thought we were friends, Barrett.
But dude, you were so busy with the Until Dawn stream.
Was I busy?
And you really wanted like the pepperoni pizza redemption. There was a whole story that you were a part of that I feel like it would have been a disservice to the content and to you to pull you off of.
That's fair.
The other side of it, you would have been highly disappointed.
That's fair. And honestly, I did have a lot of pepperoni pizza, and so I would not have had space.
And it was good.
for that burger.
Also,
but was it so, Roger? I don't want to spoil the content, but
you're gonna spoil the content.
But I'm gonna spoil the content. Is it that it was bad, or was it just like okay?
It was just a Dave single. Like, it was just a
Oh.
regular burger. Like, there was no type of SpongeBob anything. Like, no branding, no any fun elements to it. They didn't even give us stickers or a toy or anything.
That's
Like, I
so
ordered the
lame.
meal. I ordered the meal. Give me something. Give me a little toy. Come on.
Did
Come
you
on.
think about like dissecting the ingredients and selling it off?
What?
Like, because you know the like recipe for the Krabby Patty
Yeah.
is like highly sought after. Everybody wants to know what's in the Krabby Patty. So like, I feel like even if you're disappointed by the taste of it, by what it is, you should still take apart the ingredients.
No, and that's a
analyze
good
them.
point. I did at one point lick the inside of the bun because that was where the secret sauce was. Because
Yeah.
I wanted to see like, hey, this is a
Are you
special
wait
sauce.
for real?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
That's
And
awesome.
It was not a good sauce.
Wait, you're taking apart a burger like an Oreo and you're looking at it?
Oh my god.
That's the content
Sick.
you can have over on youtube.com/kindoffunny.
Roger,
sick.
that's unhinged.
That's wild. I gotta watch that video now.
Journalism.
Okay, now that is a good reason to go watch that video.
Yeah.
Also, because they worked hard on it. Anyway, we are an 11 business person, all about live talk shows.
I love 11
Today,
business person. 11 person business.
11 person. What did I say? 11
You said
business
11
person.
business person, which again goes back to like how much reading there is on this show and how much people underestimate.
Today after KFGD, you'll get GAMESCAST, which is Greg's impressions of Metaphor ReFantazio. Very exciting.
Yeah.
After that is Game Showdown, and then after that, the stream is Dead by Daylight with, I think, almost the whole crew. We're all going to be playing, so it's going to be a spooky, fun time. If you're a Kind of Funny member, you can get today's Gregway, which is a vlog from me of my experience Monday through Thursday. It'll probably be up a little bit later today, but that will be a fun one. See kind of some behind the scenes.
I'm very excited for this. 'Cause
Mike
you've been
talks
working
to
on
me.
this for like the whole week.
Yeah,
Essentially.
we get some updates about Mike going on a date. It's great.
Oh.
And there's lots of fun little things with some of your favorite Kind of Funny members. So,
That's
Thank
actually
you.
very exciting. I want to like specifically the part about Mike going on a date. I have so many questions on what it is like to be on a date with Still Mike.
I haven't gotten the update, but we got the pre-date chat.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm very excited about that.
Yes.
And also I'm very excited because you put a lot of work into this vlog.
Yes, I did. So if you are subscribed to, if you're a Kind of Funny member, you can get that today. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Delaney Twining and Carl Jacobs. Today we are brought to you by New World Eternum, but we'll talk to you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is and forever will be the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 5 stories today.
A baker's dozen.
Wait, is that you, Roger?
Roger,
Oh,
you were
what? Oh.
Roger, you were supposed to let me do it.
Oh, my bad. I was waiting for you to cut me off. I was waiting for the thing, and I was doing it slow.
I never got to submit my baker's dozen, so here we are. A baker's dozen.
There we go.
The first on the Roper Report, Metaphor ReFantazio just set a first-day sales record for Atlus, and that's from Paul Tassi at Forbes. It's a newfound Game of the Year contender and has rocketed to become a massive hit for Atlus instantly. That would be Metaphor ReFantazio, the new RPG from Atlus that has now set a record for the studio's most sales in the shortest amount of time. That's 1 million copies sold on day one, beating out all previous Persona games, the hugely popular and well-loved series from Atlus. Previously, the old record was Persona 3 selling 1 million in 5 days. One key difference here, however, is that a global release that had lots of regions launching all at once, which no doubt contributed to this early total. This is a tremendous achievement for Atlus, who has been routinely putting out fantastic Persona games, but now Metaphor has had a record-breaking surge for the studio and rocketed into newfound prominence.
So this is very exciting. We were having this conversation on the Metaphor ReFantazio review about whether Metaphor ReFantazio was getting enough buzz. I think it was a little bit of worry. We got like a super chat that was like, how do we get more people to like be interested in this game? One of my things was I felt like the marketing didn't feel as strong, like the advertising and stuff. It didn't feel like I was being just barraged with Metaphor ReFantazio leading into this. And then also it being a new IP for the most part, right? It being called Metaphor ReFantazio, it competing in more of just the pure high fantasy, like medieval fantasy sort of realm. There's a lot of things about Metaphor ReFantazio going into it that had me wondering if the Persona fan base would embrace it as if it is a Persona game. I think this is kind of the answer, right? Like I think based on reviews and critical reception, and then based on I think one of the big things here that has really helped it is the demo going out and people being able to play the first 6 hours of it and carry forward that progress. I think that was probably a wake up call for a lot of people of, oh, this is basically more Persona. Like this is the successor to all the games that I love. And if you look back at Persona and the trajectory that we've seen from that, where you go from P3, P4 Golden on Vita, having I think a cult audience that was very passionate about it, but I think that then translates to Persona 5 then coming through and being able to capture a lot more of eyes from players, a lot more passion from players, because it was like the most modern and the most I guess available and approachable version of Persona. It's right there on your console. It's PS4. It's a very good looking game.
Yes.
It's stylish. It has the relationships. It has a cool story. It has all these things. Persona 5 and 5 Royal did so much for, I think, creating a passion around the Persona franchise.
Definitely.
And I think so much of that currently is translating into passion about Metaphor ReFantazio.
Definitely. I mean, I played Persona 5 Royal. I talked about this on a different show earlier this week because of Barrett's high praise of it and a couple other people around Kind of Funny as well. And it was on Game Pass, so it was easy for me to jump into it, give it a try. I ended up purchasing it. But I definitely feel like Persona 5 and Persona 5 Royal have built this like little groundswell that's been getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think we're seeing that finally hit here at Metaphor, where everyone's like, yeah, we maybe didn't buy Persona 5 at launch, but it grew such a big audience over time that those people are all like ready for another Atlus game. And I think also it's been reviewing so well. Everyone's had nothing but high things to say about it. I definitely think a demo also goes very far because you get an idea of what you're kind of getting yourself into.
Yeah.
And I love when games have demos because you can kind of see, oh yeah, I'm going to have fun with this.
Yeah, and I'm curious. I didn't play the demo because I was already reviewing the game.
Right.
But I do wonder, chat, if there's a way that you can let me know without spoiling the game. Like, how far does the demo go? Because one of my things with Metaphor and one of my, I think, pieces of worry was that the first 5 hours are kind of slow, right? Like, it's a game that I think kind of ramps up, and I fell in love with it by the time I got to like the first big dungeon. When it is, okay, we're giving you the freedom to run around and start to like, you know, build up your archetypes and start to like build your party. And that's where I was like, oh, I see what you're doing with this. This combat system, this party development system is way more deep than what you got in Persona, or at least it's different, right?
Yeah.
For me, I would say it's a bit deeper than what you got in Persona, and gives you more freedom as far as like how you want to build your party and like giving each of your party members different archetypes and building them into like what their jobs are going to be and all this, right? Like so much of that I think is shown off really well in the first dungeon, but for me, I didn't get there until maybe like 6 to 8 hours into the game.
Interesting.
Oh, I see. Mellofellow in chat says you get 3 free days, then it's over. Kyle says it's like the first 5 or 6 hours, basically all the way to the first big dungeon.
Okay. Well, that makes sense then, because I definitely feel like your relationships and your party is, such a integral part of the game. Like, that is something that really kept me playing Persona 5 Royal, because I liked those characters and I wanted to spend time with them and change their different abilities and find new personas and all of those things. So yeah, definitely getting to play through that part where you have built up your party, I think, is important. Have
you started Metaphor? Or do you
No, I
plan on
haven't
starting
started
Metaphor?
it. I want to start it, and we were talking about this the other day. I definitely want to play it. It's just a big commitment. I will play it at some point. It's just a matter of when for me, when I find time.
Yeah.
I've been busy here at Kind of Funny.
That's fair. That's very fair.
And I'll head back home, but maybe when I get back home, I'll buy it and get started on it.
I think that's the other thing that makes me very impressed with the 1 million sales in the first day is the fact that it is a long JRPG. And we've had conversations before. I think Final Fantasy 16 was actually the big conversation that people were having about this, about how that's a game, and I love Final Fantasy 16. I think all of us here at Kind of Funny that has played Final Fantasy 16 love Final Fantasy 16. But that's a game that felt like it was making a lot of changes to appeal to a way more mainstream audience. It had more of like a serious tone that felt more akin to something like a Game of Thrones. The combat system went way more like action heavy, right? Like they removed all the turn-based elements of Final Fantasy, and it felt way more like an action game, or almost more like a Devil May Cry than it does a JRPG, which you associate with turn-based, or at least Final Fantasy you historically associate with turn-based. And those felt like moves to be like, hey, we want to be able to keep up with the times, sell, do all these things. The fact that Metaphor in 2024 is, I think, doubling down on the turn-based stuff, right? Like that combat system gets fucking nerdy if you want it to. The fact that they're able to do that and have it be a reading heavy game, having it be like a 85 hour, 90 hour JRPG, and have it day one still sell 1 million, I think speaks to, hey, you can make this kind of game and have it be popular. You just have to make it a fucking banger.
Right.
And I think that's what they've done here.
It's a big commitment. It's like moving in with your girlfriend or partner, you're like, I'm committed to seeing you every day. There
Yes.
on my screen, you're waiting for me to play.
Dude, I mean, and that's why I totally understand what you're talking about in
Yeah.
terms of the commitment. Because like Persona 3 Reload was the same thing for me,
Yeah.
where I started it and I was like, man, I know this game's gonna be 70 hours. I don't know where the fuck I'm gonna get 70 hours from. And even now, like I'm like 60 hours into Persona 3 Reload still. I gotta
Yeah.
finish it. And Metaphor is the same thing, where to play Metaphor for the review, I wanted to finish it, but again, like I got codes for Dragon Ball, and I was like, well, I want to review Dragon Ball, and I got
Yeah.
other games I'm playing too. But to play 70 hours in the span of, I don't know, I think it must have been like 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks that we had this game. To play those 70 hours, the way I would have to wake up, play Metaphor, and, like on a Sunday, wake
Yeah.
up, play Metaphor all day, and go, all right, that was a good 10 hours, and then go to sleep, like, you know, because during the week I might have plans, you know. It's like I gotta move my life around to play this game,
Right.
But people are willing to do that for a Metaphor ReFantazio,
And I love that.
good for them.
On to story number 2. 2 Disco Elysium spin-off studios have been announced on the same day. Chris Scullion at VGC. 2 new studios co-founded by former Disco Elysium developers have been announced on the same day. On Friday morning, let's try that again. On Friday morning, around 12 former... I never know how to say this. Is
Yeah.
it Zaum?
Yeah,
Zaum?
I like Zaum. I always say Zaum,
Zaum?
but Zaum sounds way smoother.
Okay. Zaum's staff announced the creation of Longdew Games, a studio said to be working on a spiritual successor to the acclaimed RPG. At the same time, another UK-based studio, Dark Math Games, was announced, with around 20 former Disco Elysium staff said to be on the board creating their own detective RPG named XXX Night Shift, which is a sick name, by the way.
Super sick name.
Longdew Games, which also includes developers who previously worked at Rockstar, Bungie, and Brave at Night, says it aims to create games that resonate emotionally and intellectually, and that it's here to build a reputation for consistently delivering quality with a focus on depth and narrative integrity. Its first game is being billed as a spiritual successor to Disco Elysium, and Longdew says it explores the delicate interplay between the conscious and subconscious, the seen and the unseen. The game is described as a psychogeographic RPG with a unique mechanic where every decision reshapes both the world and the characters that inhabit it. Meanwhile, Dark Math's XXX Night Shift claims to deliver a deep single-player role-playing experience with many tools and layers of gameplay, plus a unique companion dynamic which adds more fun and offers different paths to solve cases. The innovative and powerful role-playing system respects your time and trusts your intelligence with seismic choices, it says. It's up to you to decide how your story unfolds and how it ends.
So, Madeline, what if I told you that today there's also been a third Disco
No
Elysium spin-off
way.
studio?
What?
Yeah. So I go over to Rock Paper Shotgun, where they put up an article. It was like as I was building the show and we were getting close to going live. The article reads, or the article's titled, "Sure, why not? A third group of former Disco Elysium devs announced revolutionary new RPG studio." I'm going to read a little bit from Edwin Evans Thirlwell at Rock Paper Shotgun. "Those 2 other Disco Elysium spiritual successors you read about today were but filthy pretenders, or at best the thesis and antithesis resulting in this afternoon's triumphant synthesis. The real Disco Elysium spiritual successor is whatever they're making at Summer Eternal, a just announced art collective / RPG studio founded by a group of once more with feeling former. Let me say that again. Founded by a group of once more with feeling. Oh, I see. Former Disco Elysium developers. The press release for this particular Disco Elysium has the most actual names on it of the 3 we've learned about this week. It is also, by some distance, the most outwardly socialist of the lot. It accompanies a website featuring some blood-red, all-caps political manifestos and a fairly exhaustive breakdown of Summer Eternal's worker cooperative structure. Amongst other things, the studio will let people who buy their games from a non-profit within Summer Eternal that gets a share of the revenue and has a say on company direction. The former Disco Elysium devs in question are writers Argo Tulik and Olga Moskvina. They're joined by several other Zaum alumni, former principal writer Dora Kinzik, former senior concept artist Anastasia Ivanova, and former graphic designer Michael Oswell. Confirmed as not involved are former Disco Elysium lead writer Robert Kurvitz and art director Alexander Rostov, who aren't involved with at least with at least one of the other spiritual successor studios either. They kind of go on, but it's kind of wild that this is all happening at the same exact time, where everybody, like the Disco Elysium studio, if you missed it, there was turmoil.
Yeah, big turmoil.
Yeah, shit went down. I forget if that studio even exists anymore.
I think Amazon bought it, right? And then they all left, basically.
Yeah, kind of fighting.com/you're
yeah,
wrong.
please let us know.
Because that was a whole ordeal that was not good. From the ashes, though, we've had quite a few studios pop up. They all seem like they're working on their own individual RPGs. It's both, for me, it's exciting and not exciting at the same time. Because if you would ask me, I would have been like, I just want Disco Elysium too, man. Like, we're talking before the show that you also dig Disco Elysium.
I love Disco Elysium. I played that on the recommendation of Lucy James because she was raving about it. And it did not look like something I was going to enjoy just by the way it looked. Like, I was like, I've never really played a game that looked like that or had that sort of like, I don't know, it's kind of like point and click, but I don't know how to explain it,
It's like a CRPG, right?
Yeah.
It's like a top-down point and click,
right?
Role-playing game.
But it's like something so magical. I think a lot of people resonated with it, from the way that you play to like the narration of everything that came later in the collector. I don't know what the cut is called, but the full narration
Director's cut, Disco Elysium, Final Cut
maybe, yeah. Final Cut Pro.
Final Cut Pro, yeah.
But the writing is incredible. Bringing up all, like, they're kind of talking about political, socioeconomical choices, but also a really beautiful emotional story. So I am very interested in all of these. Like, each one kind of has its own sort of piece of Disco Elysium. I feel like they're kind of niching on, right?
Yeah.
Which we have the one more like socialist one that you just brought up from Rock Paper Shotgun, and then we have the more like detective version of Disco Elysium, where in Disco Elysium you're trying to solve a murder. And the first one also I think was also detective based. Now I'm trying to remember, but they all kind of are keying on different really lovely parts of Disco Elysium.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for each one. I'm really curious to see how they all kind of take what they learned from Disco and bring it into their own things.
Yeah, like this one from Longdew Games. They say that they aim to create games that resonate emotionally and intellectually. That they're here to build a reputation for consistently delivering quality with a focus on depth and narrative integrity, right? And I think one of the things, it's fun talking about this coming off of Metaphor ReFantazio, because Metaphor ReFantazio is a game that is political, right? It is a game about an election that is taking place in this fantasy world where things like power is usually passed down through a lineage, because it is like kings and princes and shit like that. And I don't want to get too into Metaphor, like, but like essentially there's an election that is taking place and it's a new thing, and they're exploring that and like exploring the ideas of, who do you give power? What are the things that matter to the people, right? Like it's almost like they're having like their first conversations really about like, social structures and like, do we go after the rich? Like they're having all these conversations. The thing I liked about Disco Elysium is that Disco Elysium wasn't just political. It had something very specific and strong to say.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where it's like, you got to take it or leave it, whether you like this or not, right? Like this is a game that is, hey, this is social. It is socialist. It is like, it has a very specific agenda, and I liked it because for me, it was a cool thing of almost listening to like, I don't know, like a political podcast that is from a view that I've not heard of before, because I'd heard of socialism before playing Disco, but to hear it, I guess, communicated so strongly and so passionately, it was a good, like, okay, so this is how you really feel kind of game.
I also feel like setting it in like so personal to your character and this town that you're in, right? I feel like really grounds something. I think politics and political conversations can be so worldly or so broad that it sometimes can be hard to connect with certain ideas, or hard to understand like application of those ideas or what that looks like, and centering those broader thoughts into this specific very specific situation and how it affects the people in this town, I feel like helped me and I'm sure other people understand these different political sort of perspectives and what that would look like to the people of this town.
And I think actually that's like the perfect way to put it in regards to I think the comparison I'm trying to make with Metaphor and Disco, where Metaphor, they get into those topics, but it is almost, it's way more broad and not as, I think, honed in as a Disco, because Disco is a game that takes place on like a block. It takes
Right.
place in like a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And Metaphor legitimately takes place like in a country, right? It is
Yeah.
a globe-trotting style of game. And so the topics that they're able to, or the way that they're able to approach certain topics, again, like equality, like equity, like these things, right? It almost feels like I'm taking a 101 class, whereas Disco feels like I'm taking like a 301 class, right?
Yeah.
Like Disco is, because we're able to focus on this very specific case of what is going on in this like European town, and like what's going on specifically in this murder case in this European town, right, among this community of people. We're able to dive a bit deeper into things in ways that I think are more pointed, in ways that I think are more sharp. And one of the things that I hope resonates, or I guess is retained from Disco Elysium into these studios' games that are coming out of it, is how much the writing, I think, had feeling to it.
Yes.
You know, like that is a game you want to talk about the reading and metaphor. Disco Elysium, that game is just entirely reading, right?
Yeah.
Or voice acting if
Or
you play
if you
Final
play
Cut.
that one, which is so good. The voice actor who
does the narrator?
narration is amazing.
Incredible.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it is so well written. And like it's not even just well written, it is so like written in a way where they're not afraid to, I guess, say things.
Exactly,
And it's
yeah.
refreshing because of
It
that,
is.
right? Like I had a lot of feeling while playing Disco Elysium, and I think that's more than I can say about like a lot of media out there. And so I'm 100% with you as far as how incredible Disco Elysium is.
And like aside from even the political stuff, I also am like just down for more detective games. I think Roger was tweeting last night, is there a vampire in LA Noire? And then I started going down a road of like detective games. I'm like, there's just not enough of them.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I'm trying to think, what are the detective games? I guess there's like Judgment.
Yeah.
Um
Batman, maybe you can consider
Batman,
detective.
you can count. I never played Return of the Obra Dinn. I don't even know if you would count that, but like the games where you're trying to solve what's going on,
Yeah.
right? I know it's not detective per se, but I like the idea of solving a case or solving a murder.
Yeah, I played Paradise Killer on your recommendation, Bless, and I loved
Oh
that.
yeah, Paradise
That was
Killer.
such a good one.
Yeah, that's a really good one actually. This isn't detective, but it is. It's adjacent. The Forgotten City.
Oh yeah,
It
I
kinda-
loved that too.
I know, yeah. So I love detective games that kind of give you the leeway to try and solve things yourself.
Me too. So I'm definitely down for more detective games like that. I do think I saw someone in the chat say Disco Elysium was kind of lightning in a bottle, and I don't know if that's necessarily 100% true, but it did hit that sort of like perfect mark of like, yeah, politics and detective and really cool writing and beautiful design and like a really interesting gameplay structure. So I do hope we can pull some of the best pieces of that into these other
Yeah.
games.
And I think even if none of these studios are able to do it because they're made up of disparate parts of the original studio, I think Disco Elysium was one of those games that so many people loved. And I think a lot of people I think there was an amount of people that played Disco Elysium and probably got inspired to make a video game.
Yeah.
And I think one of those people, maybe multiple of those people are able to like find that same lightning that led to that, right? Be able
Yeah.
to kind of create a successor that's gonna, give you that similar feel.
Totally. On to our third story. Xbox will soon sell games directly in the Android app. This is Tom Warren from At The Verge.
Actually, before we get to that third story,
Oh,
I want to tell people about patreon.com/kindafunny and youtube.com/kindafunnygames, where you can go and get the Kinda Funny membership, which allows you to get shows ad-free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by New World Eternum. New World Eternum is a thrilling action RPG experience for console and PC players with a vibrant world, vast and beautiful setting, dynamic real-time action combat, and the freedom for players to choose how to forge their destiny. Combat is skill-based and dynamic, incorporating swords, guns, and sorcery so that you can build one character to rule them all as you explore Eternum and unravel the mysteries of the supernatural island that you can't leave. You love playing RPGs alone? You can in New World Eternum, or play cooperatively with your friends as you complete quests, get better gear, and level up. Greg played this at Summer Game Fest on PlayStation 5 and was caught off guard by how much he enjoyed it and how many hours he said he could see himself sinking into the final product. There's boss fights, cool enemies, crossplay, resource gathering, and crafting. So yeah, this sounds like a Greg game. Pre-order New World Eternum now on PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X or S to get the Azoth Stalker Wolf mount and prepare for launch on October 15th.
Welcome back. On to our third story. Xbox will soon sell games directly in the Android app. That's from Tom Warren at The Verge. Microsoft is planning to update its Xbox mobile app on Android to allow US users to purchase and then play Xbox games on their mobile devices next month. Following a US court ruling earlier this week that forces Google to stop requiring Google Play billing for apps in the Play Store on November 1st, Microsoft is ready to take advantage of the changes. The court's ruling to open up Google's mobile store in the US will allow for more choice and flexibility, says Xbox President Sarah Bond in a post on X, aka Twitter. Our mission is to allow more players to play on more devices, so we are thrilled to share that starting in November, players will be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app on Android.
Interesting stuff.
It is.
This is like small news and big news at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? I think the big part of it is it feels like we are seeing like the slow, I guess, moving in of other companies, right? Other big corporations like Microsoft trying to have that like plant their flag and kind of be able to carve out, I guess, their side of the audience that they want to be able to like buy games off their store on mobile stores, right? Like, Roger, can you bring back up that Sarah Bond tweet? Because I actually didn't see this. Sarah Bond tweeted out, the court's ruling to open up Google's mobile store in the US will allow more choice and flexibility. Our mission is to allow more players to play on more devices, so we're thrilled to share that starting in November, players will be able to play and purchase Xbox games directly from the Xbox app on Android. So yeah, like this is, I think, again, Xbox trying to plant that flag a little bit, but then also, you know, like you've already been able to play Xbox games via cloud and playing games on Game Pass. Being able to buy those games or buy games off a library, I think it's an even bigger deal, right? Like it is the thing of, hey, I just want to play, I don't know, Yakuza or whatever, and like realizing that you have the option to do that on your phone through the Xbox app, like I'm sure Google's like, fuck, we got to figure out a way to be able to provide a similar thing, which I don't know if you can at this point, right? Like unless you're getting people to port your games over.
It's interesting. I feel like this is kind of this court case and a lot of things surrounding it. I feel like also kind of harkens back to the case between Apple and Fortnite. What's the Fortnite parent company?
Epic.
Like, I feel like we're seeing all of these different things about sort of, where these different sections of customers are and how we can reach them, and trying to, everyone getting their little piece of the pie. And I think it's going to be interesting to see how this continues forward, and where we're going to see this court case kind of where the fallout comes in other aspects as well, because I don't think this will be the last that we hear about this.
Is this something that is going to affect you in a way? Like, are you somebody who plays games on your phone, or
never?
Are you in the market? Like,
no, I do play like mobile games, but I'm not a big like traditional game on my phone person. I like having a good separation of phone games and other games. So I'm not a big I'm just not a big. I don't like using my phone for a lot of things, actually.
I'm the same way. I don't like playing. Even when Balatro came to mobile, I had a lot of people tweeting at me like, Bless is coming to mobile, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. For some reason, for my phone, I'm like, I want to use this for phone things.
But I do understand, like, the phone gaming sector is like fairly large, especially for people who commute, who are taking lots of trips. Like, it is important that people have access to be able to play. I agree that with Sarah Bond, that like it's great to have the least barriers to entry as you can. So I'm excited for those people who are using it on a daily basis, that they can just purchase something. They're on the train, they're like, oh, I want to play this game. I can just purchase it, play it right here, and like we're good to go.
Yeah. I'm fascinated by the, like, when we get to the end, I guess the end goal of all this, right? Where, hey, your whole Xbox library is available to play on your phone. Like, you can buy whatever game you want, whether it be a mobile game, whether it be a console thing. You can play the next Elden Ring 2 on your phone from beginning to end. Like, how much will that move the needle for people?
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm like, again, I'm in the same boat as you, where I'm like, I'd rather just play on my console or on my TV, because I don't know. Like, I just prefer that. There's more like control over having like an actual like controller, which I know I could use on my phone if I get like the accessories that Greg's always talking about, just attach it. But I'm like, that just sounds like a lot to me for a device where I'm very precious about like battery and like data and all this shit. But yeah, I wonder if we ever get to a place where everybody's like, nah, man, this is just what we're doing now. Like we're accustomed to playing console games on our phone. And
Yeah.
to your point, yeah, the mobile market's huge. But yeah, for playing like Xbox games, I'm very excited to see what this turns into.
Me too. On to the next story. Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remasters launches on PS5 and PS4 February 14th, 2025. This is from the PlayStation blog. Continuing the legacy of Lara Croft's iconic adventures and following the success of Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remastered, Asper and Crystal Dynamics are thrilled to bring Tomb Raider 4 through 6 remastered to PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 on February 14th, 2025. Features include the ability to toggle from classic to modern remastered graphics, the ability to toggle between original tank-style controls and more modern controls inspired by later entries in the series, boss health bars, and other quality-of-life upgrades, as well as new trophies and new poses for photo mode. Is this something you're excited about, Blessing?
No. And this is one where you might have to take my gamer card away, because if you told me there was a Tomb Raider 4 through 6, I would have been like, really? I thought that's when they started giving them like unique names, like Tomb Raider, I don't know, Shadows of Darkness.
I think
or
they
some
might.
shit.
Some of them might have unique names, and they're just not listing them here. I feel like one of them is Angel of Darkness, according to.
See, yeah, like I would have said, yeah, that's what I would have been like. Yeah, there's probably Tomb Raider adventures into dark caves, or like
Adventures into Dark Caves.
Adventures-
Is iconic.
Yeah, that was the one on Game Boy. Like I'm trying to look it up now because I'm like, was there a Tomb Raider? Okay, people are saying they are.
Yeah. I think they're named, but they're just here for brevity's sake. I think just giving them numbers.
So there's Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation that came out in 1999 after Tomb Raider 3. That was PS1 and Dreamcast. There's, I guess after that there was just one called Tomb Raider, but is that just like no? That was for Game Boy Color. This is Tomb Raider for Game Boy Color, which I assume is not part of this. There's Tomb Raider Chronicles, which is another one for that. Yeah, it came out in 2000 for PS1 and Dreamcast. And then there's Curse of the Sword for Game Boy, The Prophecy for GBA, and then Tomb Raider, yeah, Angel of Darkness, like you mentioned.
I'm pretty sure Tomb Raider: The Last Revelation was my first Tomb Raider game because I had it on my Sega Dreamcast. And I don't know if I would buy an entire collection to play it again, but I'm not interested to revisit.
Is this one, because I feel like when I hear people talk about Tomb Raiders, or at least when I think of classic Tomb Raider, I think of like the PS1. I think of the original Tomb Raider.
Right.
I don't know if I hear people talk about, like, again, Chronicles, Angel of Darkness, and then which one was the one that you mentioned?
Last Revelation.
Last Revelation. Yeah. I feel like I don't hear those come up as much.
The only thing I keep seeing everyone in the chat say Angel of Darkness is known to not be very good.
Oh.
Or people don't like it. But maybe the remaster will fix some of the things that they don't like about it.
Look how cool this cover is, though.
Yeah, she looks
my
great.
Aunt Randy had this game, and it was just the coolest fucking cover in the world. Like the smoke in the background. God, I love this era of covers. We got to go back.
Yeah, this is a good ass cover. Here's my thing too. Actually, I want to ask you, Madeline.
Yeah.
Like, what's your history of Tomb Raider? You said you played the one on GameCube.
I played the one on Dreamcast.
Oh, Dreamcast. Sorry, I don't know why I heard GameCube.
I was a weird Dreamcast kid, but I liked it. It was fun. It is like very tanky controls, which it says here you can kind of switch between the classic controls and more modern controls. So that is something that does really appeal to me because I did enjoy that game. It was fun. But it did feel really hard to move around, like a lot of those tank control things. So I'm curious to get further in it. Like, that was one of those games as a kid, like a lot of games for me. I'm just not, as a child, I was not very good at games. So I would get stuck at like the second level or the third level or like the third area. So I'm like, is it a redemption for me to get this and play it again with modern controls and actually beat this game?
Dude, don't get me started, because like I had the same thing with, both Donkey Kong 64. This was a thing we went through years ago where Barrett had learned that I actually hadn't like beat Donkey Kong 64, like rolled credits. I had gotten to like the final area, but to beat that game, you had to like beat a jetpack. Like,
right.
God. You had to beat jetpack essentially, like the first few levels of it, and I just couldn't figure it out as a kid, and so I never beat it. And then Jet Force Gemini also had a thing where in the first area, there are like 3 drones that you had to shoot down, but I couldn't figure out how to aim
Oh,
as a
no.
kid. So
Yeah.
for the longest time, I was just stuck in the opening area of Jet Force Gemini until I had a cousin come over and be like, hey, there's this R button on the back of the controller that I had never pressed because none of my games ever used the L and R button on the
Oh my
N64.
gosh. Literally, one of my most embarrassing gaming like facts is that I had Resident Evil Code Veronica for the Dreamcast. Or was it for PlayStation? I can't remember. Anyway, I could not get out of the very first combat encounter. I never got past it. I would start the game multiple days. Every time the first zombie would kill me, and I would just be like, dang, one of these days.
We need an episode of GamesCast that is most like shameful gaming like
Yes.
admissions, right? Like us going through our like most shameful things that have happened as far as like getting stuck in a game or like I don't know, getting beat by your little cousin in a game that you thought
Exactly.
that you're great at, right? Like, oh man, don't get me started on when my little cousin came over and he had Dragon Ball Z Tenkaichi, the first one, and I was like, you know, I'm like probably 3 years older than this kid, and so I'm like, oh man, he ain't got the stuff. Like, put the game in, like let's play some Dragon Ball Z. He beat my ass.
Oh no.
And I must have been 13. He was probably 10 years
Oh,
old,
no.
and I couldn't handle it.
the ego bruise.
Yeah, I was like, it was one of those ones where I was like, I need this game because I need to train up and I need to show him who's boss. Like, I can't let this 10-year-old show me up
No,
like this.
of course
I'm a
not.
teenager.
Yeah.
Like how dare he? So yeah, we gotta do that episode. The thing with me and Tomb Raider, or like my history with Tomb Raider, is not like that deep. Honestly, I had a PlayStation Underground demo disc that had a demo for I think it was probably either the first or second Tomb Raider. I can't remember which one it was, but it was like a limited demo. And even back then, I remember having the thought of, man, this game controls like jank.
It's so bad.
Yeah, like I'm just here dual wielding and trying to like swing from things, and I'm like, this feels bad to play, even as a kid. And
Yeah.
then like my first actual Tomb Raider that I played through was actually the reboot, the 2013 Tomb Raider, I think it was.
I'm
Can't
not
remember
sure,
at this
but
point.
yeah. You can put that on your wrong if the year's wrong.
Yeah, oh, 2013. I nailed it. I'm looking at the Wikipedia.
Nice.
I remember playing through that and loving it. That game was fucking
It's
awesome.
so fun, yeah.
Yeah. I'm excited to see where they take it. It's cool that they're re-releasing these things.
Yeah, totally.
Curious to see how people take to 4 through 6.
Maybe a nice date for Valentine's Day. You can play Tomb Raider 4 through 6 with your Valentine
Let's go.
people out there.
Something Mike would do, I feel like. I need to hear about these Mike dates.
I do too. We need to get updates. But before we get those updates, Blessing, I'm tired of all of this big news. If I wanted something smaller, say the tiniest news I needed to know about, where would I go?
You'd go to our last news story, the Wii News channel, where we cover all the small news items you need to know about.
It's impossible to not dance when the Wii news.
That's impossible.
It's impossible. Anyway, in Wii news, Date Everything has been delayed to February 14th, 2025.
Speaking of Valentine's Day,
So now you have multiple choices for your Valentine's Day gaming.
that's a crazy release day because like I think that's the same day as Assassin's Creed Shadows.
Oh no,
yeah.
really?
So everything's coming out on Valentine's Day.
Okay,
everything.
gamers, you have some choices to make. Sakurai has uploaded his final video on his channel, and it's about his memories of Mr. Iwata.
This is one that I wish I had time to watch this morning before this episode because I saw this making the rounds and like I started it and it was like 9 minutes long and I was prepping the show and I was like, oh, I don't have time because it's subtitled too. So like I would have to like pay attention.
Pay full attention.
Pay
yeah.
full attention. And I was like, oh man, I really want to watch this, but I'll get back to it. But I saw people like saying emotional things about it, right? Saying that it was a pretty emotional video.
Did we know it was going to be the last video, or is this something that's like just popped up?
We
Like,
knew it was going to be
okay.
the last video. We didn't know it was going to be this.
Okay.
I think people are just learning what the topic is.
Got it.
So very sweet that he made a tribute to Mr. Iwata.
Yeah, that's great. Also, Yakuza 0 for PS4, Xbox, PC, Standard/Classic Edition, and Yakuza Kiwami for PS4, Xbox, Switch, and PC, Standard Classic, up for pre-order at Limited Run Games. Looks pretty cool.
Any type of Yakuza content, merch, anything, I'm excited about. So, I do wish I had a figure. I wish I had a little bit more, but like, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it.
Roger's swiping the card.
I'm swiping the card, everybody.
And our last note for Wii News is Terrifier, the arcade game announced for PC, Nintendo Switch, PS5, and Xbox Series XS.
Is this a Madeline joint?
I am not a Terrifier fan in general, but this is interesting. I was curious because I hadn't got a chance to watch the trailer yet. Like, the Terrifier movies are some of the they're some of the goriest movies I've ever seen in my life, and I was curious how that was going to translate into a video game, especially one that's like a side-scrolly.
Yeah, it's just a beat 'em up with a lot of blood, it looks like.
But it's kind of fun. I don't know. He's definitely been embraced by the larger horror community.
So
like
Terrifier's a guy?
Yeah, he's a
Okay.
clown. Art the Clown.
They're always clowns.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a black and white clown. He just like fucks people up for basically no reason and really mutilates them. It's like not something I would recommend unless you're like hardcore into horror, because it goes crazy places.
Madeline, since we have a little time, I just want to ask you. I've been seeing a lot of discourse online about Terrifier, right? The character has been everywhere.
Yeah.
People have been calling him an industry plant. Like,
I
is
did.
this a genuine excitement for this character, or do you feel like it's just kind of being shoved down our throats because it's just come out of nowhere?
So I feel conflicted about it because I personally do not enjoy the Terrifier movies, but from everything I've read, like the first one was such a labor of love. Like they did it with like a handful of dirt and a dream.
Uh-huh.
So like I hate to say that it's an industry plant because I think they worked really hard to make something that would not get greenlit by like any major studio. Like that basically by all purposes no one would think it would make money, and then it made money. So I feel like it's probably not an industry plant. Like
I'm learning so much. I didn't even know Terrifier was a thing.
yeah, he's like the new iconic horror villain. Like he's getting, people are saying he's getting up there with like Jason, with Michael
No.
Myers.
He's in Call of Duty already. Like,
Yeah.
they already put him
Really?
in.
Yeah,
They put him
he's
in the Warzone patch.
huge.
No way.
And the third movie is just coming out or is about to come out, and he kills children in it, and people are upset about that.
That's
Interesting.
correct.
So
That's
they're trying to cross the line.
Yeah, they're being little edgelords over there.
Damn. Dang. Well, now it has a cute arcade game
I'm
that
like,
people can play. It's a cute little
definitely-
Nintendo Switch beat 'em up that you can check
Maybe
out.
don't let your kids play this.
Yeah. Because if I get to a level and like a child walks up, I'm like, I'm not pressing the B button. I'm sorry, I can't do this. I can't punch this kid. All right,
And
that's it.
That's it for We News.
Madeline, we do have a bunch of super chats for you.
Yay.
And we have quite a bit of time. Oh, we have like 10 minutes left in the show. If you have a super chat, we probably still have time to get to it if you guys want to write in with your super chats. Let's start with the Portland Kevin, who says, go with it. The intro matched Madeline's hair.
Oh, great.
There you
Thanks,
go. I didn't even
Portland
notice
Kevin.
that. And also the background's matching
I
Madeline's
know.
hair
It's
now.
almost like you guys did this for me. I know you didn't, but
I think
it works
Roger might
well.
have. I saw the lights change halfway through the show. So I'm going to say that Roger did it for you.
Yeah,
Thanks,
we'll take
Roger.
That. Yeah, we'll take that.
Thank you, Roger.
Mara writes in and says, P5 is Atlus's Bloodborne. Metaphor is their Elden Ring.
Ooh, do you agree with that?
No. I think P5 is their Elden Ring, if anything. I think Persona
Ooh.
4 Golden or like P3 might be their Bloodborne. I think Metaphor. Yeah, I think the thing with Metaphor is that like I think that all right, let's dive into the comparison.
Okay,
Because
yeah.
for me, Elden Ring, what makes Elden Ring so special is how much it expanded on like what FromSoft was doing, right? Like people love Dark Souls, people love Bloodborne, but like, they're linear is not even the right word because they're not that linear. But like for intents purposes, right? They're linear in the sense that like they're more path based and like
Right.
you're exploring areas and like you're going from point A to point B. Elden Ring took that and basically went, what if we can make an 80-hour open world experience with this level of quality that's sprinkled throughout the thing, right? And I think it's almost like a gigantic leap from what they had been doing in the past. Metaphor, I wouldn't say is like a gigantic leap. If anything, like being over 70 hours into Metaphor, I would still say that I like Persona 5 better.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, like if I'm ranking, and it's tough to rank, but if I'm ranking, right, I'm probably still putting Persona 5 Royal at the top. Metaphor probably number 2. It's between Metaphor and P4, and then P3 Reload. I got like under those.
Okay.
Granted, some people would tell me I'm crazy because I know people fucking love Persona 3 as
Yeah,
well.
people are loving it.
But like, I don't know. For me, they all kind of exist in the same sort of like category of impressive.
Right. Well, they're more like refining things rather than maybe bringing in completely new giant mechanics and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and that's my thing is, Metaphor almost feels like more of a, in the way that, the reason why I would say Persona 5, I'll view more as like an Elden Ring is because Persona 5 felt like a jump from Persona 4. Art style completely different, right? Like it felt a little bit bigger as far as what it is as a video game. They refined what Mementos was going to be. Like Persona 5 felt more revolutionary, whereas Metaphor doesn't feel revolutionary. It feels like, hey, let's take all the things that we learned from Persona 5 and make a fantasy game out of that stuff. And refine here and there in terms of like some of the finer stuff. And I think they really did a lot for the combat. But even that is like, they took a lot from what they do with Shin Megami Tensei as well.
Sure.
And so, yeah, it's tough for me to think of Metaphor as the Elden Ring. Because I'm also not sold that Metaphor is going to... I know right now it's having the best debut.
Yeah.
I don't know if at the end of the day it's going to do better than Persona 5. Yeah, Persona 5 had staying power. And so I think we'll see about
Interesting.
that. Next up, AK.98 writes in and says, Shadows of Doubt just came out. It's a procedurally generated detective game with voxel art style that's gotten some hype recently.
Ooh, okay, I'm interested.
Roger has it pulled up.
You have my attention.
I'm going to look up the Steam page because I want to read a bit more about it, because it looks cool.
Ooh, we got the villain board or the killer board. I love those.
I feel like we don't get the voxel art style enough.
No.
An immersive sandbox detective stealth game. Oh, this is your detective conversation.
Yeah.
Detective stealth game set in a fully simulated sci-fi noir city of crime and corruption. Think like a private investigator and take on jobs to earn cash on your path to catching a serial killer.
Ooh, this is so up my alley.
If you don't catch them, they'll kill again.
Ooh, okay. Thank you. Who sent that in?
That was AK.98.
Thank you, AK.98. That is so up my alley.
We got another one from Jordan White, who says, bought and started playing Metaphor this morning on my Xbox. Switched over to Games Daily and continue to play on my ROG Ally with Xbox Play Anywhere. What an amazing feature. Life is good. There you go.
Life is good. I'm so happy for you. I'm excited to play Metaphor when I get to it. It is definitely high on my list. I feel like I didn't express enough that I am excited. I expressed too much that I just don't have time, but I am very excited for it.
No, listen, you're preaching to the choir, because that's me when we talk about games coming up on any year, where I'm like, okay, I'm excited, but what's coming out around it? Because I have to be real. You got to be real about like what time you have. Mm-hmm. Like the fact that I even play it. Coming into this month, if you asked me earlier in the year, I believe it was Summer Game Fest time, where I looked at Barrett and I was like, Barrett, probably not going to play Metaphor because it comes out the same day as Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. I'm not going to, and look at all the other games coming out around that time. There's no way I'm going to touch Metaphor. You get to now, I played 70 hours.
Good for you, man.
Played 20 hours of Sparking Zero so far, if not more, because I played way more last night. I got other games I'm playing right now for review, and it's like, oof, I'm making it happen, but it's just not always like this.
You're putting in work.
I'm putting in work.
You are.
Let's see what else we got. CJ Splitzen writes in and says, what game are you most looking forward to in 2025?
Ooh, in 2025, that's hard. I don't even know what's coming out. I am really looking forward to Lost Records, Bloom and Rage. I was bummed when it got moved, although I understand why they moved away from Life is Strange.
Yeah.
But I'm a big fan of Don't Nod, so I'm excited to see that and what that ends up looking like. I think Greg previewed it and he said he enjoyed it at some point, so
that's a really good answer.
Yeah. That is what I'm definitely looking forward to. For 2024, I'm looking forward to Dragon Age still. That'll be my first Dragon Age, so I'm excited for that.
Nice.
And I'm also looking forward to Life is Strange.
Yeah, we were talking about this on the GAMESCAST about like Game of the Year, and I think a conversation that we didn't get as deep into is what are the upcoming games that could get into that conversation for you. And I think the one game left for me that like I could see competing for that number one spot would probably be Life is Strange. Like I love Life is Strange True Colors, and like I've loved the Life is Strange like franchise ever since it came out.
Yeah. Same.
And like as we've gotten closer to what was it called, Double Exposure, as we've gotten closer to it, the excitement has like been growing and growing. And so yeah, for the rest of the year, I think that's the one for me. For 2025, I have like a bunch of different answers. I mean, GTA 6.
Oh yeah, I was checking the chat too of what other people were saying.
Yeah,
GTA's high.
Ghost of Yote.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
That's super high for me. Death Stranding 2.
I need to go back and play Ghost of Tsushima because I think I got like 20 hours in and then I got pulled away by something else. And I need to get back to it.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima is up there for like my favorite games of 2020. I hope Ghost of Yote has some kind of multiplayer thing. I know that's asking a lot.
Yeah.
But Ghost of Tsushima Legends was so fucking good.
Oh, Expedition 33 is also intriguing to me.
Oh yeah.
Mad Rocks. I'm curious about that one too.
Yeah. Oh, it's people in chat are saying Borderlands and Fable.
Mm-hmm.
Borderlands, I'm looking forward to for maybe like, I don't plan to play it that much because I never play that much Borderlands, but it's always like the fun. Let's play this for a week, shoot stuff, collect guns.
I don't know why, but I always felt like this is like something I made up in my own head, where I was like, you're like a Fallout person or a Borderlands person, and I'm like a Fallout person.
Okay.
I don't
Interesting.
I think it's a division that I made up, but I was like, I'm not playing Borderlands. I like Fallout.
That's so funny. That's hilarious because I'm pretty sure back in the day, I say back in the day like it was the 90s, but like in 2010 or whatever, like whenever Borderlands started becoming popular, I think it was already out for a little bit, but I remember buying Borderlands because I was super into Fallout at the time. Like I had played so much Fallout and I was like, oh, I want more first person like post-apocalyptic shooters. And so I bought Borderlands and I was like, oh, this ain't Fallout.
This ain't
Fallout at all.
Oh, Madog96 also said the new Supermassive game. Yes, I'm looking forward to Directive 8020.
Yes.
Dark Pictures Anthology, Directive 8020.
That's a really good one. Hades 2, if that comes out in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 2X KO, also very excited for. There's a lot of games coming out next year.
Yeah. Some good things to look forward to.
And then let's see what else we got for Super Chats here. Oh, yeah, y'all are writing in.
Thanks
Roger,
so much for the Super Chats.
Roger, are you in the Super Chats?
Yeah.
Do you see this one talking about you? Should I read it, or are you like, fuck that?
No, say it.
Don't say it?
Say it.
Say it. CJ Splitzer right and says Roger looks like Freddie Mercury today.
Ooh.
Look at this guy.
That's a compliment, Roger.
I was gonna say
Freddie
I like it. I
Mercury's
think it's a compliment.
good looking dude.
I think it's a good look.
I'll take it.
We got one from Metal Baby Mario who says, first time I realized I wasn't the best at all video games was when I was humbled in Pokemon Puzzle League by my non-gamer cousin. She saw the Matrix.
Wow. Yeah, we've all had that moment.
What was that moment for you?
Well, actually, mine I feel like were all self-inflicted because I didn't have like a lot of gamer friends when I was younger. I would mostly make my younger cousin Lauren play with me, and she like does not like video games, but she just would play with me because she liked me and we wanted to play together. So I would make her play Tony Hawk with me, and she would be like, I don't like doing this, but I'll do it for you.
Oh my goodness. For me it was like when I first discovered online, or I first started playing games online, where I don't know, like I think I was just so used to playing games with my younger cousins. Or with my sisters that I'm like, oh, I'm the best. Like nobody can take me at any of the, like, you know, I've played so many hours of Super Smash Brothers. If anybody tried to touch me in this game, it's over for them. And then like I get my hand on, Call of Duty was probably the first game I played a lot of online. But even like Super Smash Brothers Brawl or whatever, like hopping into online and getting just swept by people and having the realization that like, oh, a lot of other people play a lot of video games. It's not just me. It's a very sobering thing at 13.
I guess for that, it was when I was older, I tried playing Overwatch for the first time, and I got into Overwatch and I was like, yeah, I am not built mentally for this game.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. It's first person shooters, like when they're not going well, can be so like demoralizing.
Yeah.
Because it really does get you into the flow of just, all right, respawn, die
immediately.
Respawn, die immediately. And it's like, what am I even playing this game for, man? Like I'm paid $60
I'm not having
for this.
fun, okay?
Apex was probably like the most recent of, man, I am trash at this video game, and I love Apex, right? But when it first came out, you know, it started off good. Like I got the feeling of it pretty quick, but months into it, when people really started getting good, it was like, what's the point? I am loading into a match, picking up all the. God bless Battle Royale games, because I am picking up all this loot. I'm building like my perfect build, and I'm 10 minutes in. I'm like, all right, I got everything I need. I got a gold armor. Like I'm ready to go. Who wants to smoke? And I run into the first squad. They fucking take me and my friends out, and it's like, where were you guys? Man, God bless it. Zach Johnson says, considering it's October 11th on a Friday, did you choose Bay or Bay in Life is Strange?
In my like original playthrough, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah,
I picked Bay.
I picked Bay. 8-Bit Louise writes in and says, just a heads up to clarify, I picked Bay with a Y.
Me too.
Okay, good. Okay, I mean you're on the same page, because like Come
Look,
on.
If you choose Bay with an E, you're a psychopath.
You are
you are a fucking psychopath.
Greg Miller.
That's insane. That's insane.
When like the Greg Miller thing, I never understood, because I think doesn't Greg side with Joel, or like what's Greg's side? What is it?
What? In Last of Us?
At the end of Last of Us, I remember. What was that, Barrett? Joel is the villain in Greg's eyes, right? Oh yes, that was my beef, because Greg says Joel is the villain in Last of Us 1.
Yeah.
And yet he chooses Bay with an E.
Yeah.
In Life is Strange.
Hypocrisy.
It's not
Big
adding
hypocrisy.
up. Not adding up, Greg.
You gotta do what you gotta do when the universe is telling you gotta do this thing. You know what I mean? And then one more comes from 8-Bit Louise. He says, just a heads up, Starship Troopers Extermination released today is currently a 9 out of 10 on Steam.
Oh,
also,
wow.
Madeline, you killed it this week. Amazing work.
Thank you so much. That means so much.
Madeline, that does bring us to the end of Super Chats and to the beginning of You're Wrong. As I'm opening up, Mara writes in for one for yesterday. The hyperbolic time chamber affects both time and gravity. The Super Chat from yesterday was wrong.
Oh, there you go.
Grezik says, you read from the PlayStation blog, so it didn't mention that Tomb Raider 4 through 6 is also coming to all consoles and PC.
Okay,
That's a
good to
call.
know.
Missing Link 000 says, Sakurai's video about Iwata isn't the absolute last video on his channel, just the last video of the grab bag category. The actual last video will be released next week on the 15th.
Oh,
Thank you for that, Missing
Thank you
Link.
for the clarification.
And then Portland Kevin says, correction for my own Super Chat, the colors for the KFGD logo has been changed for the Halloween season. Actually watch the show. Portland Kevin. I'm still reading. Madeline's hair still looks good.
Thank you.
And one more, you're wrong. All right. My reasoning about Last of Us and Life is Strange makes perfect sense. All right.
How?
How? Please explain.
Explain.
One was very specific about what she wanted,
Uh-huh.
and the other had no idea what the fuck was going on, so I made the choice.
She said she wanted to
So
die.
it's not about the greater good. It's about the choice that your loved one just wanted to make in this moment. He just walks away. He doesn't have
Also,
anything to
that's
say.
not- I
He
don't-
doesn't have an argument.
I don't think that's true, because my Chloe, I remember saying, like, don't do this. Like, obviously the universe wants me to be dead. Like,
Yeah.
it's okay if you let me go.
Yeah, she absolutely says that.
So actually,
It's a big part of the game.
actually, that's not true, Greg.
Fucking, this guy. This guy. That's why you can't trust him.
I feel like that was my Ellen moment. Actually, that's not true, Greg.
Actually, no. Madeline, you have killed it this week.
Thank you so much,
Great work
Blessing.
on
It's been
KFGD.
awesome doing KFGD with you.
Likewise. It's going to be awesome also playing some Dead by Daylight and doing Game Showdown with you.
Yes.
It's going to be a blast.
So exciting. Stay tuned.
You guys will have to stay tuned for that. But remember, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily. Each and every weekday, we run you through the nerdy news you need to know about live on YouTube, Twitch, and podcast services around the globe. If you love what we do, support us with the Kind of Funny membership on Patreon or YouTube to get all of our shows ad-free, watch us record them live, and get a daily exclusive show. Enjoy the GamesCast next and Game Showdown after. But until next time, Game Daily.